Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Ahmad Yakzan from the American Dream Law Office. We're here for one of our two weekly sessions with you guys. I am going live today with the English session. I don't know if we're going to be doing the session on Wednesday in Arabic on Wednesday or not, because I think we're getting a storm here in Florida. I don't know if you guys know this, but we're coming to storm. Hurricane Milton is coming, and this will be our second hurricane. Um, this is our second hurricane in 2 weeks. So if you guys can leave us, keep us in your prayers, I would really appreciate it. Give us. Keep us in your prayers. Pray for us, please, and leave us in your thoughts. And I would really appreciate if you do that. If you're joining us on TikTok today, I would really appreciate it if we get some hearts. Our goal today is 1,000 hearts. If we get more, I would really appreciate it. And if we can do more than 1,000, that would be awesome. Drop your questions as usual. Please don't leave any personal information on the questions that you ask. And I ask that not to be mean or anything, but I don't want anyone to say that they got hacked or anything like that because they shared too much personal information on the questions. The next thing that I want to say is anything I say today is not meant to be legal advice. Nothing I say will be used against me later. I just want to say that. If you have any questions, please go ahead and share them. Today, I'm going to get a little political, and I'm not going to say that we're going to. I'm going to say who am I going to be supporting in the next election or anything like that. What I'm going to be speaking about is my thoughts about how the next election is going to impact immigration to and from the United States. And I'll be discussing how things changed in the last 4 years and the 4 years before, when President Trump was in office. We're just going to be talking about policies that and things that we might see if Vice President Harris becomes president, or if President Trump becomes a president again. So I will answer any questions that you guys have. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat and we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, and TikTok. So if you have any questions, please drop them and I will get to as many of them as I could. I don't know if you guys know this, but we represent people all over the United States and the world. So we represent people here in the United States. We do have offices in the Central Florida area. We have offices in Pinellas Park, Tampa, and I have an office in Orlando. We also have an office in Miami, in Florida, and we also have offices in Washington, D.C. and New York. We are going to expand west very soon. But all I'm saying is, if you are in trouble with immigration, we take cases all over the country. Just because you're not in Florida or you're not in New York or DC, that doesn't mean that we don't take your case if you're joining us from there. Give us a call. Again, the phone number is 1-888-963-7326 if you're calling us from the United States. And if you're calling us from outside the United States and you want to get in touch with us on WhatsApp, the number is +1 727 301 9328. And if you are trying to come to the United States, drop us a line. Visit our website. Our website is americandream.law or americandreamlawoffice.com. You can actually drop us a line on there, or if you want to email us, the email is intake@americandreamlawoffice.com. We did get one question that I want to answer really quickly. Someone just asked me that he has permanent residence in Germany and he's not a citizen of Germany. If you're not a citizen of Germany, you're not allowed to come to the United States on a visa waiver. So what you're going to have to do is apply for a visitor visa. And if you want to apply for a visitor visa, as I said, and you're outside the United States, Call us on WhatsApp. Again, the phone number is +1 727 301 9328. وإذا عم تحكوا عربي عنا +1 727 301 9328 هو رقمنا على الواتساب. إذا بتحبوا تتصلوا فينا وتحكوا معنا، نحن عنا ناس بيحكوا عربي، عنا ناس بيحكوا اسبانيول وانجليزي. فاذا بتحبوا تتصلوا فينا، رقم الواتساب +1 727 301 9328. شكرا. So I've been doing this for a very long time, for about 14 to 15 years now. And when I went through the immigration process myself for a very long time too. So I have some experience before I became an attorney. I also had an experience trying to, getting things done on the immigration side personally. So I know how things have gone all the way from when President Bush was in office all the way until now. President Bush, President Obama, President Trump, and President Biden were in power. So I've known how things have changed a lot since President Bush was in, and we had the special registration for Arabs after 9/11, all the way to President Biden and present time when when President Biden's in office. So I'm going to be speaking about my personal experience when the changes in the administration happens. So when we were when we had 9/11, we had issues with immigration. Immigration policy changed a lot. We had a special registration under President Bush, and if you didn't register under the special registration, you weren't able to actually go through the permanent residence program, and you weren't able to actually get it without a waiver, and sometimes a waiver didn't work. So we had a lot of focus on terrorism at the time. So if you had something in your background that actually stopped you, made you inadmissible because of terrorism, the focus was very heavy on terrorism-based inadmissibility and deportability grounds. We put a lot of people in removal proceedings when President Bush was in office in the White House, from 2000 until 2008. Now, when President Obama came, he changed a lot of the policies under President Bush and put policies of his own. Things really changed from when President Bush was in power. We actually moved to a more compassionate type of immigration policy. We stopped making people inadmissible because of the special registration rule. So if you didn't register for the special registration rule, that went away under President Obama. When President Trump went into power, there was a lot of chaos when it came to immigration. Like literally, we would send in cases. He would tweet. Things would come up, and he would change policy on things literally from day to day. So we had a lot of things where I would send in a case, he would change his mind on something, and 2 days later, I have to redo the whole case under the new rules that he just published with willy-nilly, and then I would have had to redo the cases. The clients would get upset over the change, and I would have to redo all the work. We also placed everyone in proceedings who did not have legal status, and I had a lot of clients who didn't deserve to be in removal proceedings actually placed in removal proceedings when President Trump was in the White House. And that happened because we actually changed the policy. We just said everybody who doesn't have papers, we're going to put them in removal proceedings. For some clients, it was actually helpful because some clients had a way to actually change their status from one thing to another, and they could only do it in removal proceedings. So I had a lot of clients who applied for cancellation or removal or asylum when they were placed in removal proceedings because of the change in policy. But when actually we ended up going to their hearing, they ended up receiving relief from removal from the United States, and they were actually able to stay. So I had a client who was placed in removal proceedings back when President Obama was in office, and then went through everything, when the trial went to actual trial, when we went to trial under President Trump, because of the policy that he had of placing everybody under in removal proceedings, went changed the rules for cancellation or removal. The judge had to actually, under the guidelines that they had in the Trump administration, he literally had to place him remove him, issue the order of removal. We appealed the issue of removal. The appeal actually took a couple of years, when it was still when President Trump was in power. Appeal went up when President Biden in 2020 came in power, and the decision on the appeal came back in 2021 after President Biden became the president. And then, because they changed the policies under the Board of Immigration Appeals in 2021, and they rolled back the policies under President Trump put in power, we actually got a favorable decision for that client, and they actually came back, and the client now has his green card. So a lot of things, when you see when from this discussion about how things change because of administrations, you would know that, I think, because we don't have a what's called a policy in the United States, or a long-term policy in the United States when it comes to immigration. And I've been saying this for a very long time, that when you actually don't have a long-term policy and a long-term goal regarding immigration, you're going to have a lot of changes in policy when subsequent administrations come into power. So, so from president to president, we're going to have changes like the ones that I just spoke about, from President Bush all the way until President Biden. So, what can we expect? What can we expect if Vice President Harris becomes president, or if President Trump gets reelected and goes into the Oval Office again? So, we can expect a lot of things, but a couple of the things that I want to discuss is, um, I know I discussed this in a couple of lives before. We spoke about the the what's called parole in place, when the President Biden actually passed in June, and we that passed, and is supposed to help about 5 to 10 million people actually legalize in the United States without having to leave the country. So, uh, if Vice President Harris gets elected as the president, we will see probably a continuation of the policies of President Biden, because she is a part of the policies right now, because she is a vice president of President Biden right now. So we actually expect for the for the same sort of policies to actually stay in effect when if she becomes a president in November. So between November and January, we're going to have some lame duck things. She's going to be passing things, but we will see a lot of the things that were actually passed under President Biden to continue. We also will see a push, if she actually gets the House and the Senate. We will also see a push for some sort of a comprehensive immigration deal with some changes on the law. There is a couple of things that actually got proposed in the last 4 years, like the Dignity Act, for example, probably resurface. We will also see the deal that was actually proposed in the end in the beginning of this year regarding border security and everything like that, to get probably to resurface, to see if we will be able to push it through Congress or not. And we probably will see that happen right before President Biden gets inaugurated, because, as I said, in those 60 or 90 days, they're going to have a long time to get things done. And we saw some things get done in 2020 before President Biden got sworn in, because obviously, senators and House members don't have anybody to actually answer to and during an election. So we see a lot of movement on laws and I'm hoping that's what's going to happen with immigration. Hopefully, something that would actually some relief, give some relief to DACA recipients, because that's the PIP, that's the parole in place program that was actually signed into an executive order by President Biden. So that might actually resurface. We might see the lawsuit that's against PIP actually get dropped if Vice President Harris actually gets elected, because they might actually fight the lawsuit. The lawsuit that was filed by 16 attorney generals from Republican states might actually get dropped if she gets elected. But and it might not happen, but we might actually see some movement on that case if she does get elected. Um, so a lot of things might happen. I think I would expect probably a comprehensive deal to be signed in the 4 years if Vice President Harris actually becomes a president, and she has some people, she gets control of both chambers of Congress. So if we have a Democratic Congress and a Democratic president, we probably see something move through very quickly on immigration. Again, she will have to get reelected. That's why I'm expecting a very, very, very aggressive way to actually on immigration, uh, very aggressive movement on immigration if she gets elected. Now, again, what I would say is if you are waiting on applying for any immigration benefit between now and January, I would really, really, really advise you to not do that. I would advise you to go ahead and actually apply for whatever you can apply for before January. Because, and I say this not because I want to get business, not because I want to. I say it um, for your benefit, because if you wait, you're gonna fall under the new rules. If President Trump gets elected, you're gonna fall under the new rules, not under the old rules. And if you wait until January, and it's going to be much harder to get what you're trying to get if President Trump actually gets elected. So if you are waiting on applying for citizenship, a green card, especially if you're from an Arabic country, if you're waiting on doing any of that stuff, uh, time might have run out. But I would rather you apply now instead of waiting until things actually until things get really, really bad if President Trump comes into office. And again, if you are trying to apply for any sort of immigration benefit, our number is 888-963-7326. If you're calling us from the United States, or if you're calling us from outside the United States, our WhatsApp number is +1-727-301-9328. And if you're trying to call us for any immigration questions, please let us know. If you're trying to um, if you are trying to get us, trying to come into the United States on some sort of investment visa or anything like that, please let us know, and I would be more than happy to help. Again, join us. Visit our website is americandream.law. And if you are trying to get in touch with us, again, the phone numbers are on our socials. Um, if you are trying to um, join us, or schedule a consultation with me, please call us. Please go to the links on our socials on the link tree, and I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're a Trump supporter, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions, please let us know, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Again, this is not a political discussion or anything. All I'm discussing is policy from what has been published or has been said by the candidates, and that is all I am discussing. I am not a Trump supporter. I am not a Harris supporter, and so I am very happy that you're joining us. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions about immigration, I will be more than happy to answer them. I'm just going to discuss possible policies that will happen under either President Harris or a President Trump. If President Trump gets reelected, I am not going to be speaking about politics. I am not discussing politics. And I really appreciate it if you actually are calling us and you're a Trump supporter, if you're actually watching us. So if President Trump gets elected, he has said that removals from the United States are going to be ramped up, meaning that we are going to probably go back to the enforcement priorities that we had under the previous Trump administration, meaning that we probably will have everybody um, who is a who is a undocumented in the United States, and you get caught by any sort of law enforcement, you will probably be able to you'll probably face removal proceedings if we do get a Trump presidency. Now, a lot of the policies also would change when it comes to placing people in removal, relief from removal. Changes on entry into the United States will probably happen. So right now, if you call ICE or you get in touch with ICE regarding anything regarding a case, dismissals or anything like that, they are very friendly. They actually speak to the attorneys and try to get cases resolved. If we actually get a President Trump reelected, we are going to have a problem with with the attorney general actually stopping that pipeline of communication between us and ICE lawyers. It will also stop uh, a lot of the communication that we have with field office directors. So things are going to get much more complicated if we do have President Trump back in office. Again, I am not talking about someone actually getting elected or not getting elected. This is not supporting anybody, any candidate. I am just discussing a policy as if Vice President Harris gets elected or President Trump gets reelected. So things are going to get more difficult if we actually get President Trump when it comes to immigration. And as I said, if you have been sitting on any sort of immigration benefit, I would not wait until the election. I would actually apply before the election happened. As I said, you will have an argument that you fall under the old rules, not the new rules. But if you are waiting on getting any sort of immigration benefit, go ahead and apply for it. And again, you can get in touch with me, and I would be more than happy to help you. Now, that is on the removal side. As President Trump said also that we're going to be ramping up removals. It's going to be mass removals, which means immigration lawyers are going to be very busy. So as in the 40 years when President Trump was in power, again, as I said, I did a lot of removal work, deportation work, and I expect that to actually ramp up again. If you are trying to come into the United States, I do not think that there's going to be a new Muslim ban, but the policy of coming into the United States is also probably going to change. I don't think that there is going to be a full-fledged new Muslim ban. What's going to happen is that the policy is going to change when it comes to investment visas or anything like that. So you have if you have a trying to come to the United States on any sort of investment visas, as I said, go ahead and file now. Don't wait until the election happens. We can probably get it. If you're trying to invest in the United States, we'll probably be able to get it done, probably by the end of November or so, before the policy changes. So go ahead and, as I said, go ahead and try to apply for everything before the election, because honestly, it's very close. We don't know who is going to win. So just to be on the safe side, and if you want to fall under the old rules, not the new rules, go ahead and apply now and don't wait until the election happens. Now, We've had a lot of wins in 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 my office in the last couple of weeks. We did get cases go through without interviews for a lot of green cards. We get stacks of mails every day, and we get green cards without interviews and all of that stuff. But if we do have a change in the administration, I expect for that to actually change. And we are going to we're the policy under the Trump administration was, the old Trump administration was, that everybody who's applying for an immigration benefit needs to be interviewed by an officer for them to get the benefit. So expect for that policy to also change. What's going to happen is that everybody who applies for a green card is probably going to have to be interviewed by an officer to be able to become a green card holder. For naturalization, it doesn't really matter, because naturalization by statute, you have to actually be interviewed by an officer. So, but if we do have to schedule a lot of interviews, what's going to happen is you're going to see a backlog uh, in interview scheduling, both on any sort of immigration benefit, because everybody is going to be interviewed for an immigration benefit. And the problem is going to be, you're going to be also seeing some backlogs on interview scheduling overseas for green cards and non-immigrant visas, because again, the more people to you actually get to interview, the longer the wait times will be when it comes to having interviews with an immigration officer or a consular officer outside the United States. So expect some delays if the enforcement uh, ramps up, and where we have to actually enforce policy, and a policy that actually requires everybody to be interviewed for any sort of immigration benefit. So we have a couple of minutes left. I will actually talk about a couple of things before we log off. As I said, I would really appreciate if you keep us in your prayers and your thoughts. We are getting a huge hurricane in Florida, and it's probably supposed to hit very close to where we live and where our office is. I would really appreciate if you leave us in our thoughts and your prayers. I would really appreciate it. And I pray that everybody um, to be I pray for everybody. If you're a Trump supporter or you're not a Trump supporter, I hope that you actually shelter or leave. If you're getting a direct hit, please leave your home and go to a shelter if you could. I would really I would really appreciate if you do that, because we want you to be safe. It's going to be pretty bad. My office is probably going to be closed tomorrow afternoon and on Wednesday. So if you're trying to reach us, call us. I do have both an answering service and staff that work overseas uh, that will actually be working still. So if you need to schedule anything with me, again, the number is 888-963-7326. You can also schedule a consultation online by going to our website, americandream.law. And on that URL, um, you're gonna look at my face. I have a bunch of videos online. If you want to watch them, I think you'll enjoy them. It will tell you about my immigrant story and all of that stuff. So go on our website. It has a lot of resources, especially if you're trying to apply for any sort of benefits from immigration before the election. We have a lot of resources on there. Join us, follow us. uh, our socials are all at American Dream Law Office. So if you're trying to join us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, we all have, and again, the handles for all of them are at American Dream Law Office. I would really appreciate the follow. I would really appreciate the hearts. I would really, we hit 12,000 followers on TikTok. We're trying to reach 15,000. So if you are watching us on TikTok, I would really appreciate a follow. And if you're on the other socials, I would really appreciate a follow on there. Again, my name is Ahmad Yakzan. This is our English broadcast for the week. We are going to probably go on the Arabic podcast and in the Arabic live, probably on Thursday or Friday instead of Wednesday, because we have a hurricane. Call us. The number is 888-963-7326. The URL is americandream.law. Or if you're trying to reach us from outside the United States, the number is +1 727 3019 328. Keep us in your prayers. Thank you so much for following. And I really appreciate every one of you. No matter your political affiliation, you're still an American, and I love you. Thank you so much. You guys take care. Let us know if we can help anything, and stay safe. Take care.